used to flinch when I heard the sound of boots on concrete. Now, people flinch when they hear mine. The day Staff Sergeant Colt Rayner walked into my office, I had to grip the edge of my desk to keep from standing up and slamming it through the wall. He looked older, weathered, still built like he could punch through a wall. But something about him sagged at the edges. The alpha snarl he once wore like a second skin was gone. 7 years ago, he was the bastard who made me bleed into my pillow every night at Fort Redmond Reform Camp. I was 17, a mouthy, defiant Omega sentenced there after a juvenile altercation. He was the drill instructor with a penchant for breaking boys who didn't bow. He nearly killed me once, dragging me by my collar across the gravel yard, shoving a boot into my back until I coughed blood. They said it was training. I called it trauma. Now I was Lieutenant Commander Adrian Locke, and he had just been reassigned under my direct command. I stood slowly, my uniform stiff against my shoulders, polished buttons reflecting the fluorescent light. His eyes met mine, and for the first time, I saw guilt settle in the cracks of his soul. "Sir," he said, his voice hoarse. "Sergeant Rayner," I replied. "Welcome to Echo Base." The silence between us said everything else. The days that followed were an open wound. He didn't fight me, didn't posture, just did his job with a quiet discipline that unsettled me more than his rage ever had. There were moments I caught him staring, not leering, just watching, as if he were trying to understand something. The men respected me, even the alphas. They didn't question how an Omega climbed this high because I never gave them the chance. One night, after a brutal field exercise in the Colorado snow, he stayed behind to help clean the mess tent. I didn't ask him to, but I didn't leave either. "You think this is some sort of redemption arc?" I said, not turning to face him. "No," he said after a beat. "There's no arc, just ashes." I turned then. The tent was quiet, save for the wind howling through the canvas. "Why did you do it?" I asked. His eyes were steel, but cracked. "Because I thought breaking you would save you, that the world would eat you alive if I didn't make you hard enough." "Well," I said, stepping closer, "you failed. I broke, and I rebuilt myself without your hands." He looked like he wanted to say something, but didn't. Weeks passed. Then came the mission. A classified op in Nevada involving civilian evac and underground biohazard containment. It went to hell fast. Communications cut. One soldier MIA. My team was scrambling. Colt went back in without authorization, came out dragging the missing rookie over his shoulder, coughing blood from toxic smoke. When I got to the evac point, he collapsed at my feet. His fingers curled into my boot instinctively, just like I had once curled into his for mercy. The medics stabilized him. He was fine, but that image burned into me. Something shifted. That night, I stood outside the infirmary, arms folded. "You saved one of mine," I said when he walked out. "I owed you. You owed me pain. And you took it," he said quietly. "But you gave it back. In command. In control. You won, Locke." "No," I replied. "I survived." He looked at me, really looked. "I was wrong about you," he said. "About Omegas." I chuckled bitterly. Not exactly a revelation. Then softer. "But I'm not proud of who I was." "You shouldn't be." He swallowed. "Can we start again?" I didn't answer, just turned and walked back toward the barracks. But he followed, step for step. No longer the wolf, just a man. It was spring when I kissed him. Softly behind the command center. No rank, no rage, just two broken things finding warmth. It wasn't a fairy tale. It wasn't supposed to be. He still bore the scars of his sins. I still carried the ghosts of my past. But some nights, when he touched me like I mattered, I forgot the gravel, the blood, the spit. We built something quiet, not perfect, but real. The final review board asked if I wanted him transferred. Said it would be cleaner, less complicated. I said no. "Why?" they asked. "Because healing doesn't come from distance," I replied. "It comes from standing close enough to see the damage and choosing to stay anyway." Years later, when I was promoted again, he was there in the front row. No salute, just that quiet look of pride only he knew how to give me. And when I looked down at my medals, I thought not of the pain, not of the past, but of how far I had come. And how strange it is that sometimes the ones who nearly destroy us are the ones who help rebuild us in the end. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.